What's up, guys? I'm DK, and you're watching Pro Wrestling What If, the series where I look at the different what if scenarios as terms of the world that we call professional wrestling. This weekend is AEW's pay-per-view Wrestle Dream, where we will see matches such as Bryan Danielson defending the AEW World Championship against Jon Moxley. And the first Wrestle Dream event happened last year, where everybody remembers the event for one particular moment, that being the AEW debut of Adam Copeland, formerly known as the Rated R Superstar Edge. Come on, guys, you knew that Tony Chimmel had to make his way into this video one way or another when it comes to Edge. Now, although after leaving WWE last year, we weren't sure whether he was indeed going to AEW, re-sign with WWE, or finally retiring from professional wrestling on his own terms. And although Adam Copeland has done some things while in AEW, it made me think what would happen if Adam Copeland, or in this case Edge, had actually decided to re-sign with WWE last year. So that is going to be the topic of today's episode, where we're talking what if Edge stayed with WWE in 2023. And for this episode, I will be bringing up 5 points of what I think will happen, and not only will I be talking about the landscape of what would happen with WWE, but also talk about the landscape of what would happen with AEW had Adam Copeland not debuted for the promotion. And if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this to all your friends, subscribe, and press the notification bell for when future episodes get released, and leave a comment down below about today's topic or suggesting a future topic for an episode of Pro Wrestling What If. So I might as well kick off with my AEW points. So point number 1 is that I think that Christian Cage would become the longest reigning AEW TNT champion. Christian Cage had initially started his reign as AEW TNT champion on September 23rd, 2023. He would drop it to Adam Copeland at the World's End pay-per-view in December of that year, only to win it back from him minutes later using Killswitch's title opportunity that he won earlier in the night. Christian Cage's second reign would last until the March 20th, 2024 episode of AEW Dynamite in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in an I Quit match against Adam Copeland. And if Adam Copeland doesn't make his AEW debut, I believe that Christian Cage would have that TNT championship during that entire duration and would drop it around the time of when his second reign had ended. However, if Christian Cage did drop the title at that same Dynamite episode in Toronto, he actually would have been 1 week short of tying Darby Allin's reign of 186 days, which currently is the longest reign as of the recording of this video. So Christian Cage would have likely dropped it at the Dynasty 2024 pay-per-view event, where for sure he would become the longest reigning champion at 211 days, and still would get him into the current position he's in, surrounding himself in the AEW World Championship picture after winning the Casino Battle Royal at the All In event. And who does Christian Cage drop the AEW TNT title to? That's where you guys would sound off in the comments. Point number 2, nothing would be too different in AEW without Adam Copeland. One of the biggest reasons for Adam Copeland to come to AEW is to basically end his professional wrestling career in some sort of way with Christian Cage. We have already seen a feud between the two in AEW and could potentially see it again at some point, especially when Adam Copeland comes back from his current injury. But it seems like we are bound to get a tag team reunion with both Adam Copeland and Christian Cage holding the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It would be dumb for AEW to not reunite not only one of the greatest tag teams of the World Wrestling Federation, but of all time for one more run when the opportunity is there. If Adam Copeland didn't join AEW, nothing different besides what I had mentioned about Christian Cage just a bit ago would have happened. The dream singles matches that many people have fantasized guys have yet to happen since Adam Copeland has arrived, and it's unknown how many can or will be done by the time Adam Copeland does officially hang up the boots. I wouldn't even be surprised if we still never got a dream match of Adam Copeland and Kenny Omega in an AEW ring. And now continuing the rest of the list with WWE, in which point number 3 is that at some point he will have a feud with Logan Paul. Adam Copeland had mentioned on various interviews, including the Not Sam podcast, that he wanted to work with new and younger talent with the time that he has left. And although Edge has faced almost everyone within WWE, one person he never locked horns with was the young up-and-comer Logan Paul. Edge was previously a guest on Logan Paul's podcast Impulsive, which could have planted the seeds of a rivalry between the two at some point, just like it did when Roman Reigns was a guest on the podcast as Logan Paul was just starting out with WWE. And it's likely that if Edge feuds with Logan Paul, this would be the scenario to insert Edge into a match for WrestleMania 40 with how stacked the card both nights were. But what exactly would be his match at WrestleMania 40? Option A, Edge gets inserted into the United States Championship picture with Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens, now making it a fatal 4-way match and not affecting the real timeline at all. Option B, Edge faces Logan Paul for the United States Championship in a singles match, which then would likely have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens be placed in some sort of tag team match on the card, and this would for sure cut out the 6-man tag team match between the Pride and the Final Testament. Randy Orton, with his popularity, would be bound to automatically have a match at WrestleMania in some sort of way, especially missing the prior year's WrestleMania due to his near career-ending back injury. Option C, Edge teams up with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, in which in this case I would call it Rated RK Owens, against Logan Paul and 2 partners of his choice in a 6-man tag team match. The likely partners I could see team up with Logan Paul would be Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, also known as 8-Town Down Under, which would cause DIY to be the team to grab the SmackDown Tag Team Championships during the ladder match on night 1 of WrestleMania 40. But this would allow the Pride and the Final Testament match to still happen at WrestleMania, but only Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross facing each other in a singles match. Once again, let me know what you think, option A, B, or C in the comments below. Point number 4, Edge would compete more on TV than premium live events. If Edge were to have re-signed with WWE and been able to work more than he originally did when signing in 2020, which was a reason why he didn't re-sign with WWE, then I think we would see him in matches more so on episodes of Raw or SmackDown rather than premium live events. Back when Vince McMahon was in charge, every premium live event was between 8 to 10 matches, no matter whether it was B shows like Payback and Fastlane or major shows like Royal Rumble and SummerSlam. Now with Triple H in charge, almost every premium live event is around 4 to 6 matches, no matter what event it is, with the exception of WrestleMania due to being 2 nights, and I guess very soon, as of 2025, SummerSlam also. So there are constantly limited spots for superstars to have premium live event matches, especially if you're not holding championship gold, which Edge most likely wouldn't be. Hence why we've seen on numerous occasions feuds having big matches on episodes of Raw or SmackDown before or after a premium live event. A recent example as I'm recording this would be involving the American Made and Wyatt Six feud. And the 5th and final point I think would happen is that Edge would compete in NXT. The best way that Edge could have capitalized on facing fresh new talent and still being a part of the WWE is having a run in NXT. And it's happened many times before by having WWE superstars do run-ins with X amount of matches in NXT, especially to save a feud for later on, like they did with Becky Lynch to keep her away from Rhea Ripley for a period of time before their match for the WWE Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 40. After Edge's match with Sheamus in Toronto and having us believe that he may be hanging up the boots, WWE could have swerved us by having him show up in NXT instead of the main roster. Imagine Edge having matches with the likes of Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, and even Braun Breaker while they were still in NXT. Edge could have had a great small run in NXT by having having banger after banger matches, as Sheamus would say, and help elevate the younger talent on that roster before being brought back to the main roster for whatever reason, maybe for that Logan Paul feud going into WrestleMania 40, like I mentioned earlier. Not only that, Edge could be another reason why WWE would have been able to still secure a TV deal for NXT to be on the CW network. Maybe Edge is officially full-time in NXT during this new run to help prove that NXT isn't just a developmental territory, but to help make it as a third brand of the WWE.